Hello and welcome to another episode of the Footy Social with me, Dan, and Boyd. Oh no, Boyd's still banned. But today we will be doing our team of the season. We know it's a little bit early. We've still got like 6-7 games to go, but
can't imagine there's going to be any drastic.
There's not really much changes. Really. Yeah, we might update it in 7 weeks' time.
It's team of the season, though, not team of the last 6 games. I feel like if you've earned your place by now, you've earned your place.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've got team of the season. We've got under 23 team of the season, but if you're in the team of the season and you're under 23, you can't be on our under 23 team of the season. Is that what
because no one likes it. Do you remember like Gareth Bale won both in the same season? It was very boring, wasn't it?
And then we're going to do like underwhelming 11 as well. Yeah. We're not going to be doing any awards. We're going to save that for a different video, like player of the season. I don't know what else.
We might dabble in some European as well, depending on what our knowledge is like.
We're going to wait. Obviously, we're going to do more about the Europe awards when the Champions League actually finishes.
Yeah.
Still a long way to go in that.
Yeah.
At least. Anyway, so start off with our Premier League team of the season. Who've been your standout goalkeepers, Daniel?
Well, it's between 2 for me. It would have been Mendy, but I think he's gone off the boil recently. So I think the most consistent goalkeeper has been Alisson, but I think the most impressive has actually been De Gea. I think that's purely just because he's making so many saves because that defence is so bad. And without De Gea, I think their season would be even worse. So I think De Gea has done the most goalkeeping in the league, if you get me. Done the most impressive goalkeeping.
I had one of those written down.
Yeah.
It's easy maybe for Edison and Alisson to be there.
Yeah.
Also went Jose Sarr.
Jose Sarr has been very.
Well for Wolves, and
I think if we had to go signings of the season, he would definitely be in goal.
Yeah, I think he's one of the reasons why they've done so well.
Yeah.
He's kept them in a lot of games. So what we think? De Gea, Alisson, Sarr. I know Arsenal fans might be shouting Ramsdale, but for me, he's not quite there.
No, he definitely hasn't been one of the best. I mean, I'm happy to go with Alisson if you are. I mean, I only put De Gea in to be different because there's going to be a lot of Liverpool and Man City players in this team, obviously. But
yeah, and I feel like De Gea has only been that good because everyone else has been so bad.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, his distribution is terrible, isn't it? Really, De Gea he can't kick a football. So if you want a modern goalkeeper,
if United were third or fourth, no one would really be looking at De Gea. He's been so good.
Yeah.
So
I think we'll unanimously go for Alisson in that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go for your right back. You could go first.
Well, I haven't gone. I've written like 4 people for 4 different positions.
Okay.
But right back, I feel like the 4 best right backs this season. Well, I'm gonna go 3 best right backs. My 4th one's sort of like a luxury pick. But I think it's been obviously Reece James. But then again, been injured for a lot of it.
Yep.
Trent has been decent, but then there's questions over his defensive ability this season. I've gone Tomiyasu as well. I feel like he's been one of Arsenal's best players, and no one knew really who he was when he came in.
Yep.
But he's been very good.
Hasn't really played since about January time though, has he? But up until then, he was pretty impressive. Considering I think they bought him as like a centre back, and they sort of just shoved him out there, and he sort of deputised quite well.
Yeah.
Well,
so they're the 3, and I also went Livramento as like a vague shout, but he's not going to be in there.
No, I mean, he got absolutely skinned against us at the weekend. I don't think he's ready for that just yet. My right back, I would have gone for James if he was fit for the whole season, but I think I checked it earlier and he's only played 17 games in the league, which is a shame because in those 17
he was very good,
unbelievable. So I did go for Trent. I think the issue with Trent is that the fact that he's so good attacking just completely outweighs any slight defensive qualm he has, and I think he has gotten better defensively. I mean, obviously he had a tough time against City, but going forward, Trent was still Trent. And in the Champions League this season, I don't think anybody's been managing to expose him, which was his issue last year. Vinicius Junior really caused him struggle last year, and I don't think
played though that have been that.
Well, I mean, probably not anybody impressive, but you still got to do the job, haven't you? You just got to play what's in front of you. But I would go for Trent. I think if James was here the whole season, I'd probably let James sway my mind.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, personally.
Okay, let's go for centre backs.
I might be missing some here because I did it off the top of my head, but I've gone Van Dijk, Diaz, Thiago Silva, Kurt Zouma as sort of like a shout. But I also went. Thinking about it now, I quite like that Romero from Tottenham. I think he's had a good season. Yeah,
but again, not played a lot of games. I think that's more recency bias with Romero.
Yeah.
I went for Van Dijk just because I think... the thing is, I kind of didn't want to go for Van Dijk because it's boring, but the standards he set are so high that, I mean, he has been at those standards this season. It's just any slight dip looks different. And I also went for Thiago Silva. I think he's been better than Rudiger this season. Obviously, he had a tough game against Brentford, but what we got to remember is Van Dijk conceded 3 to Brentford earlier in the season as well. So it swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, I feel like you saw what happened to Liverpool last year without Van Dijk.
Yeah,
he's back and he doesn't look amazing, but he just looks Van Dijk.
I think my third choice was actually Matip. I think Matip's been.
I thought about him, but I didn't want to put 2 Liverpool ones in.
No, it was quite boring.
They've also already got 3 Liverpool players, and they're not even top of the league.
No, I think Diaz obviously would be in a shout, but I think he hasn't really. He's been rotated and injured quite a lot as well.
Defenders get rotated quite a bit, don't they?
Yeah, it's more just sort of the Pep system that sort of helps the centre backs flourish. But I think Van Dijk is a certain, and then I guess it's just whether we want to go for Thiago Silva or.
Yeah, I think Thiago Silva.
Yep. Obviously, Rudiger could have had a mention, but I think Rudiger's more exciting to watch, but I think he's a bit more rash. Thiago Silva is just that really cultured Rolls Royce of a centre back, really. Okay.
Yeah, and talking about moving away from Liverpool to their title rivals.
Yeah, I think this is probably the easiest pick of the season.
I mean, I've got Robertson and Cresswell down there just because they're like the best of the rest.
Yeah,
but it's got to be Cancelo, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's literally nothing else you could really say. Cancelo's been unbelievable. That's it, really.
Yeah,
I think the thing is, Robertson has had some patchy form this season. He's been rotated in and out with Tsimikas, who hasn't really dropped. The level between Robertson and Tsimikas hasn't really been that massive this season. And obviously, my bias coming in, Chilwell, if he'd managed to stay fit, but I think he played about 5 games. But in those 5 games, he was our man of the match about 4 times.
Yeah, and Cancelo's just been unreal, hasn't he?
Yeah, Cancelo's just...
He works really well in that system that Pep has going.
Yep, and he can play either side as well. So there you go.
CDMs,
yeah, I mean, I'm playing a 4-3-3.
Same.
So I think that's probably...
Well, we had to play the same system because we're making the same team. But,
yeah, that is true.
I've gone with 3. I picked 3. I've got Fabinho, Kovacic and Rice.
Okay.
Were the 3 that I sort of picked out as probably the best 3 this season.
Yep.
I would say Kovacic or Rice are really CDMs, but it's not doesn't have to be accurate.
Yeah, well, I picked Kovacic as one of my 8s, and my holding mid was actually Rodri.
Interesting.
I think I've given Rodri a lot of stick over the years. I think he's just I think he gets run over in the midfield quite a lot against quality midfielders, but I haven't really seen that happen to him this season. And I just think, I was watching him against Liverpool at the weekend. I just think he's just really cultured. He's basically what Jorginho should be. He's just a physical presence with the technical ability of a Jorginho, whereas Jorginho doesn't have any physical presence whatsoever. And I think it's basically just the thing with Rodri is that everything looks so easy to him that it can easily get overlooked. You sort of forget he exists after a while. Obviously, Rice would have been my second choice. I've got him down there, but I think... I think the levels that Rodri sets are just slightly higher than Rice. I think Rice is the more exciting player.
Right, they're different players as well.
Yeah, and obviously Rodri plays on his own in that. You
could definitely play both in a 2 together.
Yeah, 100%. Rice definitely plays in that double pivot. Rodri just holds the thing down on his own. But.
Yeah, I think Fabinho's been very good this season as well. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I think it's basically a straight shootout between Fabinho and Rodri. If we're playing
we don't have a third opinion because
if we're playing a pure DM,
me and you are disagreeing on this because I'd go Fabinho maybe over Rodri, but I'm happy. I think you might have convinced me. I think I'm happy to go with Rodri. I think you're right. He has been very good this season.
I think the way I'd want to play football as well, I'd rather have Rodri in there. As well. So then I guess we're into the 8s. I've already mentioned one of them, Kovacic, and on the other side I imagine you're probably going to pick this one as well. I put Bernardo Silva.
Well, I've not gone Kovacic in there.
No.
The ones I've written down, De Bruyne. I mean, Ward-Prowse in an 8, but I thought he's done well this season. Conor Gallagher, Bernardo Silva. I'd like to just play Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne in there, put them both in there. I think they've both been unreal this season. They've been the best 2 sort of attacking midfielders, if you like. De
Bruyne's role has sort of changed this season. He's not really being the playmaker anymore. He's now like in the final third. And I guess that's probably because they haven't... I mean, obviously, I know last season they played with the false 9, but it's been a lot more prominent this season that they are missing that striker
at all, really.
Yeah, so De Bruyne's sort of become that hybrid attacker / midfielder. So he hasn't really been he's more been the goal scorer in midfielder this season. But I think he's been pretty impressive. But I just went for the Chelsea ring. Really, I think Kovacic has been our best midfielder this season. in a poor season. I've never seen him struggle in any game.
Yeah,
and obviously Bernardo
Kovacic.
Silva is a given.
I like Kovacic, but I think you got to go De Bruyne over Kovacic.
I think De Bruyne's also done it against Liverpool twice and Chelsea twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with with De Bruyne.
I think they'd be the best two.
Yeah.
So we got a full Man City midfield, which is making me think maybe change to Fabinho, but we'll keep it how it is so far.
Yep.
Should we go right or left wing?
Let's go right wing because that's a quick one.
Honourable mentions for Saka, Bowen, Rafinha, but it's Salah.
It is Salah. Yeah. I had the same honourable mentions. Nothing really exciting there.
Yeah. So on the left, I've gone. It's the same three as it is I had last season. I think it's the best three left wingers in the league. Sterling, Mane, Son. It's between one of them.
Okay, I think Mane's definitely had more dips in form this season. Sterling still.
Well, I know who I'm going for. So
Sterling still doesn't convince me in the big games, so I went for Son.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's like
2 months ago. Maybe you wouldn't have picked him, but.
Yeah, but Son does this every year. He goes 10 games without doing anything, 15 games where he scores 17.
Yeah, and he's looking very good under Conte now.
I think he's only about 2 or 3 goals behind Salah in the Golden Boot now. He's suddenly just breathing down his neck.
And even when he's not playing that well, he still scores goals and does stuff. So, Heung-min Son on that left, definitely.
Yeah.
And then my 4 strikers.
This was the hardest position for me because I don't think any actual striker has had a good season, like an outstanding season. Obviously, you've had some decent ones in there, but I don't think anybody's had an outstanding season.
I know. I agree. Yeah, the ones I've got written down here. I mean, I'm going to add Foden to it, but I don't think it'll be him. I've got Jota.
Yeah, that's
Harry Kane, Ivan Toney, and Emmanuel Dennis.
Yeah, I think Dennis hasn't been consistent enough.
No, he had a great start. He
has just been ever since the AFCON. Harry Kane, sort of the opposite to Dennis. He only turned up after Christmas, but he's suddenly been rattling the involvements off. But I went for Jota, but to be honest, now I've seen you put Toney, I'm kind of preferring going for Ivan Toney as my actual striker because I think Jota isn't really a striker. I think
who's been the best striker in the league this season? Toney.
I think if you're going pure off number 9s, like actual strikers, I think Toney has been really impressive to me. And the thing is, he's not really playing. He's kind of playing that Harry Kane role where he does actually drop deep.
He's gone a bit under the radar.
He plays through balls like the assist he got for you against you for Mbeumo is what he's been doing all season. That dropping deep, linking up the play. He's obviously a presence in the air, and his penalties are so funny to watch. I know it's like a random thing to pick out, but I think he's one of the best penalty takers in the world. Really, if you think about it, I can't remember. I don't think he's ever missed one the last 2 seasons, has he? He scored about 15 of them.
I don't. I mean, I don't watch every game Brentford play, but
so I think if we want to be really exciting, we go for Toney.
I'm putting Toney, and he's a bit different.
He is different.
And I know Liverpool fans don't like Jota that much.
I think the issue with Jota is that he scores.
He scores goals, but he doesn't do much else apparently.
No.
But I mean, if you got a striker, that's what you want.
I mean, I would love Lukaku to do that, but I'm sure Lukaku's coming up later on.
So is that our team of the season?
I think it is, yeah. So
if you want to put it up on the screen now, we've got Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Thiago Silva, Cancelo, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Salah, Toney, and Son.
Yeah, so I think that's how many Liverpool we got. 1, 2, 3.
If we're missing any glaring, obvious mistakes,
4
let us know.
I think that's pretty well balanced. We've got 4 Liverpool, 4 Man City, and then a few extras in there.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty well balanced. I think I'm not too sad about leaving Fabinho out now we've got that balance.
If it's a full Man City, Liverpool 11, no one would probably be arguing either.
Yeah, but it would be very boring.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to be too boring on it.
Let us know if you would change anything, if we've missed any glaring omissions out. Obviously, Chelsea fans will say Rudiger, Mount, probably.
Man United fans going, Ronaldo scored 10 goals this season.
Something like that. I feel like Man City fans, they'd go for Foden or they'd probably go for like John Stones. They seem to love a John Stones out of nowhere. And obviously, we didn't really talk about Edison as a goalkeeper, but the thing is, Edison never does anything, does he? I actually can't remember the last time I saw Edison make a save. He just has nothing to do all games.
I mean, if he was playing for Man United
we'd probably see his actual save. I'm still not sure how good a goalkeeper Edison actually is. It's just unbelievable with the ball at his feet. So now we've got that out of the way, we're going to do our under 23 team of the year, which I think
we can't pick. Is there any under 23s in our current? So we've got Trent.
So we've got Trent in there. I think that was it.
Yeah, that is it.
In terms of under 23, I think Tony's a bit older, isn't he?
He's not 23.
No, I think he's about 25 maybe. Okay, well, let's go for it. Let's go from back to front again. So in goal, I went for Ramsdale.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that.
I think that he's really the only outstanding young goalkeeper.
I mean, not many young goalkeepers play in the Prem.
No, I think it's just such a highly pressurised environment.
It's also with goalkeepers, it's usually later in your careers when you're like after 23.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a young 23-year-old English goalkeeper, you're usually playing in the Championship at this point, in
Yeah, exactly.
Which, to be fair, Ramsdale should have been, considering he got relegated twice. But fine. Yeah, we'll go for Ramsdale.
He's been the best. I mean, the only.
Yeah.
So he has to be picked, isn't it?
For right back, I didn't go for Reece James or Trent because I thought one of them was going to make the main team. Now Trent is in, I want to go for Reece James, but my initial pick was actually Ben Johnson. I think you'd be pleased to hear. I think he's been quite impressive this season, and there hasn't been many young, outstanding fullbacks really. I mean, obviously you can think about
Lamptey and Livramento.
Lamptey hasn't. Yeah, I mean he's sort of been slow coming back from injury. Livramento. I mean that was more recency bias. I saw him get absolutely skinned at the weekend. Livramento up against like Timo Werner of all players, but.
I like a Johnson shout. He's just very young still. He's got a lot of learning to do. Going forward, he's not too great. So it's going to be Reece James for me personally. If that's going to happen.
Yeah, now because that's the thing. I didn't pick Reece James because I thought he might have snuck into the main team. But yeah, we'll just go for Reece James. It's quite an easy one in the end. Yeah. So centre back pairings, you can go for yours.
So I went with Guehi.
Yep.
And Salisu.
Oh nope. No. Salisu was the worst player I have seen this season against us on Saturday. I mean, recency bias. I just think I've never been impressed with watching him once. I think he's really clunky. I've watched him
play 3 times this season, and they beat us twice, and we drew 0-0 the other time. Every time he was outstanding.
But I think unfortunately, every time I've seen him, I've seen him look quite clunky, a bit unnervy with his tackling and things. So I did go for Marc Guehi as well. I think it's unbelievable. He's 21 and he's captaining. I know obviously Palace have now a young team, but I mean he's captaining Palace now.
Yeah, he's
on
done
basically
well.
a full-time basis.
He's been amazing, but I mean we're under 21, so we're not asking these players to be the best
they're going to be well
league, are we? So who's your other one?
My other one was Benjamin, as he likes to be called.
Ben
White. I think he was 23 at the start of the season. I think his birthday is October, so he just about snuck it in.
Yeah, so we're doing 23 at the start of the season.
Yeah, 23 at the start. So I went for Ben White. I think he's bounced back from a rough start. But I think, that Arsenal team is quite fun to watch sometimes.
Obviously, he's got a lot of learning to do, and he's looked dodgy at times.
Yeah, I still think 50 million was a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a bit too much. But if you're going to...
It's not really his fault.
I'd say he gets into this, I'd say he does.
Okay.
Over Salisu, that's it.
Yep.
Left back, I mean, you mentioned Cucurella.
I think he was 23. I can't remember exactly. So I'll quickly fact check that.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go for Cucurella.
No.
I'm going to go for his rival left back.
The M23 derby.
Yeah, Tyree Mitchell.
That is who I went for as well. I think I wanted to go for Walker Peters, but I checked and he's too old.
He's been around quite a long while.
Yeah, so... No, Cucurella is 23, actually.
Oh.
So, if we wanted to go for Cucurella, but I don't think we would, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Mitchell's been better.
Yeah.
I mean, Cucurella looks good.
I think it's because he's got floppy hair. He stands out a bit
radar recently, haven't they? I mean, they beat Arsenal, but they just draw a lot and lose a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, it's every time you look at Brighton, they're either drawing 1-1 or drawing 0-0.
Yeah.
That's basically it. But yeah, I went for Tyreek Mitchell. I think he's very much in the Aaron Wan-Bissaka school where he can't attack, but defensively he's just really solid, really sound, just dependable. So I think if we wanted to go for an attacking fullback, you'd go for Cucurella. But I think just to respect the English,
Brentford, didn't they?
Yeah, I think just who Cucurella?
No, Mitchell.
Oh, I'm not really sure how he got on, but
he was one of the ones, when Brentford folded their academy.
Oh right.
And then I think he went to Palace.
Instead, they just bought a bunch of Norwegians or whatever. Yeah. Danish ones, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. So that's Mitchell then.
CDM, I've only written one name down because it's not really a contest, really.
No, because I knew I wasn't going to pick him in my main team. So
Declan Rice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 23, so he gets in. And he's very close to being in the first team, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably the second best English youngster, maybe best English youngster, I'd say, with Eric Trent. Important now to England, important to West Ham. He's going to go places.
Yeah, and next season we could very well be talking about the main team, couldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. hopefully, if his career keeps going in the way it is, then there's nothing stopping him being the best midfielder in the world.
Yep. Okay,
yeah,
well,
not much argument there.
So in the 4-3-3 again, same information. I've finally gone for Conor Gallagher.
Have we gone for everyone's English so far? Yeah.
Yeah, we have actually.
Yeah.
Yep. So Conor Gallagher.
Biased.
But to be fair, there's not a lot of other youngsters that get a chance really because they're all going to come through the academy. Yeah, so I went for Gallagher and Foden in the midfield. Basically, I think Foden could have gone left wing, but I put somebody else at left wing.
Yeah, I'll go Gallagher and Foden as well. With I got Mount, Elliott, Smith Rowe down here, but I'd like to do an honourable mention for Odegaard. I think he's been Arsenal's best player attacking wise. Personally, watching them.
Yeah, I mean he's just an old school playmaker, isn't he?
Yeah.
You don't really get a lot of them nowadays. He's just a player who likes to play make.
And after he moved to Real Madrid at 16 and sort of didn't really progress there, you sort of thought, he's going to be one of those.
Just one of those football manager flops, isn't they?
Yeah, it's flopped, but he's looking good, and maybe he can improve next season, look even better. But for now, it will be Gallagher and Foden definitely for me.
My other honourable mention was unfortunately he who must not be named brought him up last season to a lot of laughter. But I went for Jacob Ramsey as an honourable mention. I didn't pick him in my team.
I thought you were going to put Mason Greenwood in centre midfield.
Oh God, absolutely no chance.
No,
Boyd brought up Jacob Ramsey and said that he was like the best youngster in the Premier League. He's better than Martinelli, who'd already played like 50 Premier League games at that point. Other silly things, and we all laughed at him. And unfortunately for us, Jacob Ramsey's turned out to be a really good little player. He's not quite
there yet. I think he needs another whole season before he can be mentioned with some of these names.
And obviously Villa have been diabolical this season, so he does stand out quite a lot. Quite a terrible team. Hope you're listening to that, Wood.
Yeah, they're not great, are they?
Very bad. He's very bad.
It's not. It's very false. Very false.
Pretty false. Okay, so let's go
for right or left.
Let's go for left wing. Because it sounds like you put an interesting one. Sounds like you put Mount in the middle. I put Mount as sort of like a left forward because, to be honest, Mount hasn't really played anywhere this season. He's played right forward, left forward, in the middle, number 10, number 8. So I just thought I'd have to stick him in somewhere, and there was a space at left wing, so I stuck Mount there. I think he can play left forward if you want to, interchange with the right wing.
I know. Hear me out.
Okay.
Kuleveski.
No. He's played about 5 games.
He's been better than Mount though in those 5 games he's played.
He's not been better than Mount for the whole season in 5 games. Mason Mount has been carrying. Mason Mount in our worst period of the season in December.
He scored all his goals against Southampton and Norwich.
Not all of them, I think. Yeah, but that's just the easy thing to say. If you look at Foden's, you could do something like that with Foden. I mean, basically, you just the issue with scoring against the bottom teams is that 85% of the teams you play are going to be below you in the league. So, of course, if you're going to get goals, if you score 5 goals against Man City and you score 5 goals against Liverpool and nobody else, obviously then going to go 100% of his teams are against the top 2, but he doesn't do anything else. And in the day, we've struggled, and we can't. I'm not trying to take the mick here, but we've struggled in all of them games as well. Even against Norwich away, we were struggling. Brighton, we were struggling. I mean, obviously Southampton at the weekend, we weren't. But in those games, I mean, if we needed a player to come up, Mount would come up in that moment. And I know it's pretty embarrassing to say that we were struggling against teams like Southampton at home and Norwich away and things like that. But all you got to do is just turn up when your team needs you. It doesn't really matter what the opposition is. And he's still turned up in the big games anyway. I mean, if you think about, obviously maybe not this season, we haven't been the best, and we've only really played big games in the and he had a stinker in the Carabao Cup final, obviously. But he's still scored against the big teams over so far in his career. And Kulusevski turned up for 5 games. I think he's been fine, but he's coming into that attack. But he's been coming into that attack where it's Son, Kane. Like it's going to be hard to. I mean, basically, unless you're Eric Lamela or Brian Gill, you're going to look pretty good with that attack next year. I mean, Lucas Moura, I thought was a nothing player, but he's been pretty good whenever he plays this season.
On that argument, though, I'd say Anthony Gordon maybe because he looks good without any decent players next to him.
Yeah, no, I think that's the opposite. I think that's everybody else is so bad. Maybe. He basically it looks a bit more exciting. Right.
Yeah, so Mount, I'll go Mount then, but I
think Kulusevski plays on the right anyway. And I think there's
Mount was better last season, which is why I've not really picked him. Obviously, you'd know better than me, but yeah. On the right, I've got one name down as Saka.
Yep, that's quite an easy one as well.
There's not been really other 23 right wingers I can sort of think of that have been on his level.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, again, he's been carrying that Arsenal attack through times as well, hasn't he? Sometimes.
Yeah, and then My striker is our first non-English player.
Oh yeah.
And you told me he was 23, so I've
Yep.
written him down.
That's Emmanuel Dennis.
He was 23 at the start of the season. He's 24 now, but he was 23 at the start.
Counts.
Yeah, I think he's also been one of the surprise packages of the season. Because I mean, when they brought him in, I sort of knew his reputation that Genk sort of didn't like him. He sort of had attitude problems, but he came in and looked really well. Obviously, completely disappeared after Christmas, but I mean, so did the whole of Watford because they're just destined for the drop. So you can't really blame them for that.
I think he got a little injury at one point as well.
Yeah, I sort of hope somebody else picks up Dennis.
He's going
rescues him
Villarreal apparently.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it would have been quite fun to see him in the Prem. He's also, fun fact, got the most nutmegs in the Prem this season.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Done his research.
Means nothing, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I feel like Aston Villa could learn one or two things about recruiting players from the Belgian league. Go and ask Watford, because all their strikers they got from there, Samatta and Wesley, probably there's a few others as well, they were dreadful. But yeah, Dennis looks a decent player.
My honourable mention was obviously I got to represent my boy Broja. I think he's looked top.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, no, I'll go Dennis.
Yeah, I think Broja hasn't really scored as many goals, but I mean his overall play has been because the thing is, you look at him and he's sort of like a big lad. You sort of expect him to be like a big target man, but he's not. He's got silky little feet for a big man, and even for like little things like Albania, like the senior national team, he scores in all their games as well. But
yeah, I mean, he's got a shining light there, but isn't he?
It would be fun. It would be fun to see what Broja could do at a team like Chelsea next season. Probably not massive, but we're going for Dennis anyway.
Porridge next season he plays for you.
Yep.
Or wet porridge isn't the same. But so yeah, our under 23 team this season is Ramsdale, James, Guehi, White, Mitchell, Rice, Gallagher, Foden, Saka, Dennis, Mount.
Yep.
That's a decent little team.
It's Brexit FC with Dennis.
We'll put it on the screen now.
Yeah.
So you can see it. Yeah, again, if we've forgotten anyone, let us know.
I mean, obviously, Man United fans would try Sancho, but no.
I don't think so.
Nope.
I think most of them wouldn't.
I think everybody's given up at that point. Everton fans, as you just said, would try Gordon.
There's probably a few who are getting, but maybe not. Yeah. Probably not anyone.
If they don't stick on our mind at this point, they probably didn't.
Exactly.
So now let's do our underwhelming, a bit more negative. Underwhelming, and I think we should specify, because I think we did this last season and we said that underwhelming would have to be signings, but for this we'll just go for underwhelming in terms of we expected this, they've delivered that. Basically is the criteria we're looking at here.
Yeah.
So in goal,
goalkeepers. I mean, I apologise, I didn't do my research on this, and it's all off the top of my head. And the first one, I mean, it's going to be like an Everton Man United 11. This, isn't it?
Basically.
I've got Pickford, I think.
Okay. I actually went stat driven, unfortunately. I went for Ilan Meslier.
Ooh.
He's got the worst. He's got the worst goals prevented in the league in terms of goals you're expected to concede from the quality of shots and the goals you've actually conceded. Meslier lets in a lot of goals. Some of them, well, a lot of them, judging from that, he really shouldn't. And also, I picked him as my young goalkeeper of the season last year. So I had high expectations for Meslier to sort of keep going. And obviously, it doesn't help that Bielsa decided everybody stand in the penalty box, forget about defending. Oh, Meslier has conceded 7 goals again. Poor lad. But maybe I'm being harsh, but you've got to go underwhelming.
You know what? I think there's going to be a lot of Everton and Man United players in this, so I'm happy to go with Meslier.
Yeah, a bit more exciting.
At right back.
Yep.
Interesting one. I mean, off the top of my head, Wan-Bissaka, but I feel like I'm going to go with Emerson Royale.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Because he's looking, now Tottenham are playing better, he's looking okay. But when they were playing poorly,
he looked like Bambi on ice, didn't he? Yeah. I did go for Wan-Bissaka, but I guess now I think about it, I expected that, delivered that. For Wan-Bissaka, I expected.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I expected that, and he's delivered that. I knew he was no good, and it's turned out he's no good. So yeah, I think Emerson Royale, coming from Barcelona, he seemed quite exotic. I mean, you've called yourself Emerson Royale. You've got to be a footballer.
I don't
think
he called himself that, but
I feel like it must be a Brazilian thing. I very much doubt that's actually his birth name.
Brazilians name themselves. It's the first word they say when they're a kid.
Yeah, it's like you see the story the other day. When you were playing against Sevilla, you know that Jesus Corona calls himself Tecatito.
I thought that was because the coronavirus.
No, basically it's because when he was in the youth team, he played for a team in Mexico or something that was owned by this brand of beer called Tecatita or something. And obviously their rival's beer company was Corona. So when he played for them, they didn't want to advertise their rival's beer company on the back of their shirt. So they made him call him Tecatito, which means like little Tecatita. Yeah. And he's kept that going.
A very interesting story.
Very interesting. Got absolutely nothing to do with underwhelming Premier League team of the season, but it just popped into my mind.
Emerson did name himself Royale.
But Emerson has named himself Royale. And just for that, you're in this 11. All right? You can't call yourself Emerson Royale. It's a great name for a footballer.
Emerson was born. He got his nickname Royal. As his uncle said, he resembled the mascot of the Royal branded
gelatin dessert sold in Brazil.
So maybe his uncle named him it.
Well, I mean, if you've kept the name, I don't have a clue.
How does he look like some jelly?
I mean, maybe if I can be asked when editing this
picture up on the screen.
Yeah, when I can be editing, I might Google what the hell this means. But as you said, yeah, you can't be unserious and call yourself Royale and deliver nilch on a football pitch. So he's in this team.
Yeah, I mean, he's played like jelly this season, to be fair.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
Right, centre backs. Pretty easy. Michael Keane and Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Diabolical.
You don't really need to talk much about them.
Car crashes.
I mean, did we expect much from either?
I mean, Harry Maguire, best centre back of the Euros, turned into absolute nothing.
Maguire, yes. Michael Keane. I mean, suppose we expected it to be okay.
You expect Michael Keane to be bang average. Instead, he's been diabolical. And Harry Maguire, you expect to be slightly above average. He's been diabolical. He's an embarrassment, and his attitude stinks. He really does stink. Like, I know this sounds personal, but it sort of does. Like, there's a lot of players in that Man United team that I just don't like their attitudes. They think they should get.
It's one of the reasons why they're doing so bad.
That is why they've been doing so bad. I mean, I always go back to this anecdote when Maguire lost, when they lost 2-1 at home to Sheffield United, bottom of the league, Sheffield United. Harry Maguire posted on his Instagram story saying, Harry Maguire completed the most long passes against Sheffield United today that any player has in the Prem or something. He posted that on his Instagram story. Like, you just lost the bottom of the league, Sheffield United. Like, take some accountability. You're the captain of the club. You stink, mate. You stink. You're terrible. You shouldn't be starting for England. Get out.
Luke Bennett.
Let's go on to the left backs. Let's move on to
left back.
He's also a Man United player for me.
I mean, which one are you going to pick?
Well, I mean, I don't care anything about Alex Telles, so I went for Luke Shaw.
Had such a good Euros, wasn't he?
He had a great season last year as well. I think we put him on our team of the season, didn't we?
Yeah, we might have.
I think we put him left back and Cancelo right back.
Why don't we put our team of the season last year, if you can find it, Dan?
Yeah.
Now, just so you can have a look what differences we've.
We probably didn't put Luke Shaw in after that, but
yeah, it's probably Chilwell.
Yeah.
But yeah, how good was he last Euros? Scored a goal in the final, but not only that, he was very good defensively at left back. Is it just a Man United curse? Because he came out and said he loves playing for England, and even for England after the Euros, he's looked good as well. But
and it's strange as well because I think Luke Shaw was so good at his delivery last season was really on the button. They brought in Ronaldo, who's probably the greatest header of a football in football history, and his crossing has gone to pieces. Like, it just doesn't exist anymore. I don't. It just doesn't really make sense.
It's a weird one because we were all expecting him to do really well, and he hasn't. So underwhelming is literally what Luke Shaw has been this season.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we were agreeing on that back five, didn't we?
Yeah.
Cool. So in the middle, we'll go for again. We've gone for a sort of a 4-3-3, I assume.
Yeah, we might as well stick with the same formation.
Yeah. So as the number 6, I went for, as a Chelsea fan, I went for Billy Gilmour. I expected a lot. I mean, last season, every time I saw him play, the last 2 seasons really, every time I saw him play, I thought this is a really tidy, comfortable footballer. Even at the Euros, he was one of Scotland's shining lights, even though they were terrible. I sort of thought a Premier League loan would. I always worried about him going to Norwich, and lo and behold, he went to Norwich, stank up the place up with all 23 other members of their squad. So that's the thing. What a waste of a career.
That's the thing. I think that's helping Gilmour out a little bit. Is he has been playing for Norwich.
Yeah, I mean everybody sort of expected Norwich to get battered every week.
That's literally how it's going to work with him.
But I mean, I guess on the other hand, you then look at Emmanuel Dennis and you say that team's getting battered every week, but he still can hold his head up high. Gilmour's getting battered every week, and he can't really do the same.
I mean, it's maybe his mentality's gone. He probably doesn't want to be there.
No, it's kind of the Yampatu situation from last year, who was getting battered at Sheffield United. His head went, but he's been doing pretty well in Serie A. If anybody cares, I don't even think Chelsea fans care. He's at Venezia in Serie A. And he's been one of their best players apparently, but I don't think anybody really cares about him.
But my one's a bit different.
Okay.
I've gone with Douglas Luiz.
Okay.
because I mean I don't know if you know, if you watching us now, you know who Boyd is. Bigs him up to be the best CDM in the world. Plays for Brazil.
Yeah.
And he's been very average.
He just does nothing on a football pitch apart from sort of foul people, run around and foul people, which sounds a lot like other Villa midfielders that we won't name. But it sort of got to a point where John McGinn. It's sort of got to a point where Douglas Luiz was so nothing at holding mid that now Villa fans, mainly Boyd, have to rewrite the narrative that actually, it turns out he was a box to box this whole time. That's why
they need a CDM.
That's why, so they need a CDM to replace Douglas Luiz, even though he's meant to be a really good CDM. He's sort of just a nothing footballer. I mean, he's got loads of different hairstyles. Give that to him.
And he's got fit misses now.
And he's got a fit misses, but yeah, unfortunately, no. I'm fine with putting Douglas Luiz in there.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I think he's. I like Gilmore as well. I don't like Luiz.
Yeah, I think Gilmore has the potential to. I mean, Gilmore's so much younger than Douglas Luiz anyway. So I think if he gets a much better loan next season, if Gilmore goes to a Crystal Palace or a Southampton, I think we might see a real footballer there. Douglas Luiz is sort of never going to be.
Yeah, he's always that level of mid-table.
Yeah,
Premier League.
Right centre mid. This is going to be my most controversial pick out of all three teams. I've gone for Kante. I think I absolutely love N'Golo Kante. I think he's one of the greatest midfielders I've ever seen play for the club, bearing in mind the standards that Chelsea of midfielders that Chelsea have had over the years. This season, before the season started, I picked him as my PFA Player of the Year because I thought he ended the season on such a high. He was the greatest. He was the best player in our Champions League run, hands down. Matter of fact, unbelievable midfielder. I expected him to carry that form on, drag us into an unlikely title race, and he hasn't done it. He's been injury prone, and when he has played, he's been very sloppy, which is unlike Kante, and it's just disappointing because I know that he can be the best midfielder in the Prem, and he's nowhere near that this season, so it's a shame. Love Kante.
I've gone similar, but not quite Kante. I thought I'd gone Jorginho.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in between them. I think the thing is, the whole footballing world.
Chelsea fan, so I'm going to let you choose one.
Yeah, I think the whole footballing world knows exactly what Jorginho is. He's a tidy 5-yard passer, keeps it simple, no physical presence, prone to a lapse in concentration. Whereas the whole footballing world expects Kante to be N'Golo Kante. Like that's it. You just say his name and you have an image in your head. So I think Jorginho being below average isn't as exciting as Kante being below average, I'm afraid. And I actually think Jorginho's been fine this season. Nothing special. But Jorginho's never anything special, really.
Yeah, so we'll go Kante. And then the other one, I think I want to go Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno, yeah. I mean, I went for Buendia because I wanted to fit him in somewhere. I'm not really sure whether he plays in midfield.
Yeah, there's a lot of Villa players also get into this.
A lot of Villa players because they sort of were talked about. But yeah, I mean, as I sort of said with Bruno, with Harry Maguire, their attitude just stinks. It really does stink. And obviously, you know exactly what's going to happen if we get any Man United fans watching this. Oh, he's created the most chances in the league. I don't care. I do not care. Bruno has...
He doesn't care.
I do not care. Bruno has done nothing this season. His attitude stinks. He's a diver. All he does is moan at the ref. He's petulant. He flicks his arm up. He's selfish. He does the Hollywood passes all the time. The fans big him up to be better than he is, which makes him believe he's better than he is. He's got a brand new contract at 250 grand a week when he already had 4 years remaining on his deal, and ever since that he's signed that, they've done nothing, and they've been knocked out of the Champions League in a game where he was doing 40-yard long shots for no reason. And last season, Bruno was very good. And this season, it's basically last season. It was
off. We expected him to be there again, and he hasn't been there.
Bruno last season, it was the bad attributes, the diving, the petulant, the moaning, the cheating, the selfishness, the hero ball was there, but the goals and assists and actual sometimes decent midfield performances were there, balanced out. Now it's gone like that. And it's just, he looks like a stinky footballer. And he's basically just everything I hate in the modern game, really. Stats over substance. That's all there is to it. If you watch Bruno, there's a nothing player there. I mean, if you see Bruno on a stat sheet and the goals and assists, he looks like a world beater. I just don't like it.
If Bruno, what have Man United won since he's come in? I know he's only been there, 2 years now? But still.
Yeah.
They were in the final and he didn't do anything.
He did absolutely zilch in that final. And obviously I know that it can't be just attributable to him. But if he's meant to be the star man, do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, if you're relying on him, he's not doing anything, then he's not going to be a star man.
Yep.
So yeah, that's our midfield done. Right wings and left wing, who have you got?
Left wing is probably the easy one. I went for Jack Grealish.
Yeah, he's been pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, sort of.
I feel like he's taking. Maybe next season he'll come good again.
He 100% will. I mean,
he's
at the end of the day, like
to settle, hasn't he?
yeah, Pep signings always do nothing for 12 months. Apart from Ruben Diaz, do nothing 12 months. Suddenly become well beaters. Like Mahrez sort of did nothing. Leroy Sané sort of had a slow start, didn't he? And then suddenly he was the best winger in the league for one season.
Yeah.
So I think Grealish. Well, next season Grealish will probably come back, but this season for £100 million, do something. You know what I mean? Do something on a football pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. You happy with that?
Right. Yeah. And then right wing.
Right wing.
Aims to be Sancho.
I mean, I put Ismail Assar.
He's been very disappointing.
I was sort of running out of ideas, and I thought I was putting too many Man United players in here.
Yeah, who we got? Bruno, Maguire, Shaw.
We didn't put Wan-Bissaka, did we? No, we put.
I think Sancho's been okay.
He's been absolutely fine. He's been fine.
Yeah.
He's in a stinky team, and there's not a lot of help.
So I'm happy to go Ismail Assar just to switch up a little bit.
Yeah, make it because it sort of does contrast with Emmanuel Dennis, where it's sort of like they're doing the same sort of job, and one's doing it a lot better than the other. I think maybe we're being a bit harsh. I think he's probably still been one of Watford's best players, but
I mean, I watched him the other day against whoever they played, and he missed some chances.
You sort of would expect Sarr this season because obviously
nothing,
last time he got relegated, everyone sort of thought like, oh, he's way
linked
too
to
good
Liverpool, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was sort of he's way too good to get relegated, and then he sort of stayed in the Championship. And it's like, right, okay, now he's back in the Prem. He's going to get his bit. He's going to do a Rafinha, basically. You know, in the relegation side, he's going to play so well that you know he's going to be gone in the summer, no matter where the team finishes. And I don't think Sarr's going to go anywhere this summer, is he really?
No.
And striker, I mean, you can basically just copy and paste Grealish. Huh?
Calvert-Lewin.
Oh, I went for Big Romelu.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. I was going to say Calvert-Lewin is probably second, but I think injury's done a lot for that. Lukaku is just lazy. He's just a big Lukaku, lazy 100%. Wardrobe. Really, that's it. If he stands on the penalty spot and you cross the ball onto his face, he'll probably do all right with it, even though he didn't against Real Madrid.
Do you remember when he came in and he scored? Did he score against Arsenal?
Scored against Arsenal. He looked unbelievable. But now you look back and you think he was playing Pablo Mari and Rob Holding.
Yeah. I remember watching that game and thinking, Chelsea could actually win the league.
Yeah, no. Lukaku, waste of space. I don't know what is wrong with our club and strikers. I sort of just hope we bring back Broja. Tell you what, we shouldn't have let Giroud go. Giroud would have done a 10 times better job than Lukaku.
Yeah, but at the time, if someone
said you're going to swap Lukaku for Giroud, such a shame. I mean, hopefully next season Broja gets a chance and he turns out good.
I think you'll keep him next season.
Yeah.
So yeah, our underwhelming team this season, if I can remember it.
So we had Meslier, Emerson Royale, Michael Keane, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Kante, Douglas Luiz, Bruno Fernandes, Ismail Assar, Romelu Lukaku,
and Jack Grealish,
and Jackie G.
So we'll put that on the screen there. Anyone else, again, this is probably one where we're missing the most.
Yeah, and I really hope Man United fans come in and try and defend Bruno because I've got time. I've got time all night, all year to argue against this Bruno Fernandes Donny. There's just nothing likeable about him.
Yeah. There's no point in them arguing.
Right.
I mean, maybe if they'd beaten Everton on the weekend, then there'd be something to argue about.
Yeah.
But Everton are rubbish, and they made Everton look good.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much it. If there's obviously stuff we're missing, like we're not going to be 100% right with this one, especially because we probably forget a few people. But so let us know if there's anything you change.
Yeah. And obviously, if in the next 6 games of the season Liverpool win every single game, Man City drop points, and Fabinho plays well, you'd probably put Fabinho in over Rodri.
Yeah.
But it's very fine margins, isn't it? Really.
What Liverpool has to be have Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah.
Yeah.
And then Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and Cancelo. Yeah.
So it's very fine margins. You can't really see any of them changing, really.
No.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like that's I mean, it's not much we can change really there. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like and tell your friends to watch as well. And yeah, that's us finished. I think we're going to do more Champions League stuff now as that's heated up a little bit.
Yeah.
And also
we will know what the semi-finals are next week this time.
Yeah, we've got awards night as well, which is a bit different to our team of the season. It's basically just giving awards for random things that we can think of.
Yeah.
We did it last season. There might be some new awards as well, so that would be quite interesting. And maybe like a decent quiz if we can think of one. That's quite fun to play along at home as well. But obviously we need a guest for that. So yeah, thank you for watching. Dan, where's the outro?
There.